Hi, today I wanted to talk about editors and translators and the relationship between them. I mean, how many times have you, if you're a translator, how many times have you maybe translated a document, sent it to the client, and then the client sends it back to you, says, oh, we found all this stuff wrong, we had an editor go over it and we found all this stuff wrong, and and then you go through it and so much of it is just bogus, they're not real mistakes, they're just, changing the words around and just to show that they did some work. Or by the same token, if you're an editor, you have two versions. There are two scenarios. One that's complete crap and you basically have to cover it in red. Another one that's not that bad at all, but you're thinking, wait a minute, I'm being hired here. I need to show that I'm being hired because I'm getting paid to find mistakes here. And so I need to find all the mistakes I can. Well, because of this, the relationship between the translator and the editor can become somewhat acrimonious. And so I'm here to tell you not to treat it like that and to see each other not as a competition but as colleagues. In essence, usually if there's a translator and the translator is decent, you can always find things to change around if you're an editor, or things that help out or don't, that can help with the flow or maybe a better terminology, stuff like that. And so you can point it out and you can say, by and large, it was okay. There are a couple things I would change and do it this way or that, and then send it back. Or you can say, well, this was complete crap and you definitely need to hire me in the future because you definitely need an editor because your translator's crap. Well, if you're going to do that, you're going to get called out on it. So just be ready for that. And look, obviously I'm speaking because I've had personal experiences in this. And I've had a couple. So one that comes to mind is when, I was a translator. I translated this 20-page document and sent it off to the client. And anyway, the client wrote back a while later, said, oh, we don't want to pay you because because we sent it to an editor and we have all these changes and all these mistakes, everything like that. And I was like, okay, send me, whatever edits you have because, I'm a pretty decent translator, so I'm curious to see. So anyway, they sent it to me and I went through it and it was, crap. Basically, whoever edited it wasn't fluent in English because there were some very weird expressions there. So I went through it. I went at not the whole 20 pages, basically the first 2 pages, and covered it in red on my part and basically said, I sent it back. I'm like, look, I corrected this person's main mistakes. There are other things that are kind of so-so, and there are 1 or 2 points where I might agree with him, in the expression he chose or something like that. But all these things that I pointed out, you definitely need to change them because his part is no good. And I said, I'm not doing the full 20 pages because it's a waste of time. Take my version, take his version, show it to anyone you know who's fluent in English. Find someone who's fluent in English, a third party, anyone, show them our versions and ask them which one is better, and they'll tell you. And I never heard back. I got paid in full, and that was it. So I'm just telling you, if you're an editor and you want to play those games, you're going to get called out on it. So don't. If you're an editor and if you're a translator, you can work well together. You can both get paid by the client. Ideally, and I've worked with editors and translators, and I love it when they can work well together. They've never met each other maybe, but I'll receive a translation, have it done, send it off to the editor. And these are languages that I don't know maybe. And then when it comes back from the editor, it'll say something like, oh, that's, it was fine. Here's some things I would change here and there. There's one point to watch out for, I would change it to this. And then I send it back to the translator. I'll say, what do you think? Translator says, yeah, I agree, 100%. Or, maybe I agree except for that or something along those lines. Anyway, it's civil. And you only have, you go back and forth maybe once or twice, but then that's it. And it flows very smoothly. But the moment you start getting antagonistic about it and you start seeing the editor or the translator as the enemy, then problems can happen. And really be sure about what you're saying at that point because you will get called out. Anyway, that's all I want to say about this. And I think it's an important point to keep in mind when you're working with clients, especially if you know that they have an editor or if they had another translator work on something and you're the editor. If you have any opinion or personal experience with this, feel free to let me know because I know the experience can be varied and, very different depending on what has happened to whom. But by and large, it seems to me that if you can find a way to be civil, as long as there are no egregious mistakes, then it works out better for everyone. Okay, thanks. Bye.